Of all the elements that make up a premium cigar's packaging, the cigar band is the one most founders underestimate, and the one most consumers spend the most time looking at. Think about it. The box gets you to the point of purchase, but the band is what the smoker holds in their hand, looks at, studies, and remembers for the entire hour or more they spend with that cigar. It is your most intimate piece of real estate, and most new brands give it 30 minutes of attention. My name is Humberto Arias, and through cigar package design, I've designed bands for over 100 premium cigar brands. In this video, I'm going to walk you through everything: the anatomy of a great band, sizing specifications, typography rules, color and contrast principles, print finishes, and the most common mistakes I see founders make right before they go to press. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly what separates a cigar band that commands a premium price from one that gets overlooked on the shelf. Let's start with the basics. Most premium cigar lines use a two-band system, a primary band and a secondary band, sometimes called the footer band. The primary band sits toward the head of the cigar and carries your brand's main identity, the logo, brand name, and primary visual language. The secondary band either sits below the primary band or near the foot, and typically communicates supporting information: the blend name, the vitola, the country of origin, or a collection sub-brand. Some ultra-premium lines use a third band, a collector's band, or a special edition wrap. But for a new brand, focus on getting the primary and secondary right before you add complexity. A well-executed two-band system will always outperform an overcrowded three-band system where nothing has room to breathe. One thing that's often overlooked: the bands need to work together as a system. They should feel like they belong to the same family. Same typographic voice, complementary colors, consistent use of finishes. I've seen brands spend serious money on a beautifully designed primary band and then rush through the secondary band because they ran out of budget. The result looks unfinished, and it undermines everything the primary band was trying to say. Think of the band system the way you'd think about a suit. The jacket might be the statement piece, but the trousers and shirt have to coordinate. If they don't, the whole look falls apart. Now, let's talk sizing, because this is where a lot of first-time designers get tripped up. Standard cigar band dimensions vary by vitola, by the size of the cigar itself. A Churchill-sized cigar, which is typically a 50 ring gauge and 7 inches long, will carry a band that's approximately 3¼ inches wide by 1½ inches tall. A Gordo, 60 ring gauge, 3½ inches, usually carries a slightly wider band. Your packaging manufacturer will give you the exact specifications for your vitola. The most important thing about sizing is this: design for how it will actually look on the cigar, not how it looks on your screen. A band that looks spacious and well organized at 100% zoom in Illustrator can look cramped and cluttered when it's wrapped around a 54 ring gauge cigar. Always request a physical proof, or at minimum a 3D render, before you approve final artwork. And pay attention to the seam. Every band has a seam where it wraps and meets, and whatever is printed at that seam will be partially hidden or folded. Make sure your critical design elements, your logo, your brand name, are placed so they're fully visible on the front of the cigar, away from the seam. This sounds obvious, but I see it overlooked constantly. Typography on a cigar band is one of the most technically challenging print design problems you'll encounter, and that's not an exaggeration. You're working with a canvas roughly 1½ inches tall, often curved, printed at high resolution, and viewed from a distance of about 18 inches when the smoker holds the cigar. Every typographic decision has to be optimized for that exact context. Rule 1. Never go below 8-point type on a cigar band. Even that is pushing it. For any text that needs to be legible, your brand name, a collection name, a country of origin, I'd recommend 10 to 12 points minimum. Decorative text, borders, and micro elements can go smaller, but anything that needs to be read needs room. Rule 2. Serif typefaces, especially classical or editorial serifs, have strong historical precedent in premium cigar branding. They communicate tradition, heritage, and authority. Sans serif typefaces can work beautifully for modern or minimalist brands, but they need to be chosen and weighted carefully. A thin sans serif almost always fails at small scale on a band. Go medium weight or above. Rule 3. If you're using a custom logo type, a brand name styled as a graphic element, make sure it's built in vector format and tested at actual output size before you lock the artwork. A logo type that looks refined at large scale can become illegible or visually muddy when it's reduced to fit a band. Always test at actual output size. Color is where a band either communicates premium quality or undermines it, and the principle is simpler than most people expect. Contrast is everything. High contrast bands, dark backgrounds with light typography, or rich jewel tones against metallic elements read as premium. Low contrast bands, similar values, muted colors, washed out palettes, read as budget, even if the underlying design is sophisticated. The most classic and proven combination in premium cigar branding is deep color, typically navy, black, forest green, burgundy, or espresso brown, paired with gold or silver foil. This combination has dominated the luxury cigar space for a reason. It works. It triggers a visual recognition of quality that's been built into the category over decades. You don't have to use it, but you should understand why it works before you decide to break from it. If you want to design something more contemporary, lighter backgrounds, pastel palettes, clean white space, the challenge is maintaining perceived value without the traditional dark and gold anchor. It's absolutely possible, and some of the most beautiful modern cigar brands are doing it, but it requires extremely precise typographic and layout decisions to ensure the band doesn't read as inexpensive. The margin for error is smaller. Oh, and one more thing on color. If you haven't watched my CMYK versus Pantone video, do that after this one. I'll link it at the end. The color model you choose for your band will affect how your colors render in print. And getting that wrong after you've approved the artwork is an expensive correction. The link is in the end screen. Print finishes are what transform a well-designed band into a premium tactile experience, and they're one of the most underutilized tools in new brand design. Let me walk you through the ones that matter most for cigar bands. Hot foil stamping. This is the metallic foil accent you see on almost every top-tier cigar band. Gold, silver, copper, rose gold. It's applied with a heated dye that transfers foil directly to the paper. It adds a reflective quality that photographs beautifully, catches light when the band is on the cigar, and communicates luxury in a way that's very difficult to replicate with any other technique. If your brand is positioning in the premium tier, foil should be on your band. Embossing and debossing. Embossing raises a design element above the surface of the paper. Debossing presses it below. Both create a tactile dimension that's immediately perceptible to the hand. Embossing communicates heritage and craft. It's been used on premium packaging for centuries. A brand that uses blind embossing, embossing without foil or color, is communicating extreme confidence, letting the form speak without decoration. Soft touch coating, a matte laminate that gives the band a velvety, tactile surface. It's particularly effective for modern minimalist brands. The contrast between a soft touch matte background and a hot foil element is one of the most compelling tactile combinations in contemporary luxury packaging. It's also highly resistant to fingerprinting, which matters for a band that's being handled constantly. Before I land the plane, let me leave you with the 4 most common mistakes I see on cigar bands from new brands, so you can avoid them before you go to print. 1. Too much information. A band is not a brochure. Every element you add competes with every other element for the viewer's attention. Edit ruthlessly. If it doesn't serve the brand identity or communicate critical product information, cut it. 2. Artwork not built to print specifications. Your designer should be working in Adobe Illustrator at 300 dpi minimum, with all colors defined in the correct color system for your printer. Ask for this explicitly before a single element is placed. 3. Approving artwork only on screen. Always request a physical proof of your band before you approve the final print run. Colors, finishes, and legibility all look different in person than they do on a monitor. Place your critical brand elements on the front face of the band, away from where it wraps and meets. Check this on a proof on an actual cigar before you sign off. That's the complete cigar band design tutorial. Anatomy, sizing, typography, color, print finishes, and the 4 mistakes to avoid before you go to press. If you're in the early stages of designing your band and you'd like professional guidance, the link to start a project with us is in the description. We'd love to help you get this right. And don't forget to subscribe for more. I post new content for cigar brand founders every week. And if you want to understand how color choices affect your print outcome before you finalize your band's palette, the CMYK versus Pantone video is the one to watch next. It's linked right here.